Hi there, it's Ricky from Moshville Times here once again. I'm delighted to welcome bassist vocalist Dan from Irish heavyweights Dead Label. Now, for those that don't know Dead Label, they're a bit of metalcore, they're a bit of groove, they're a bit of new metal, they're a bit of thrash, they're a bit of death. I think you can say that they cater for all genres. So you've probably heard of the name Dead Label. So how have you been, Dan? How have you been in the last year?
I've been really good. Not gigging and the whole world being turned upside down. Apart from that, everything's been fine. I was saying to you before we started the interview, and I actually haven't stopped working. I've been lucky enough to be continued working, so it actually hasn't stopped for me. Yeah. But during the first lockdown, my wife was home for like 6 or 7 weeks, and she was going insane by herself. So I can only imagine.
So how's the friends and family? Everything okay that way?
Yeah, everything's fine. My parents are fine. My mom is considered high risk, so we haven't really been able to see her too much, or if we do, it's at a distance, masks outside. But other than that, everybody seems fine. But we've been lucky enough that nobody in the immediate family has actually gotten COVID, so we've been very lucky. So we're really happy about that.
Well, hopefully with the vaccine on the horizon, this will all be over soon and we'll all be able to meet once again. But listen, we're not here to talk about COVID, we're here to talk about Dead Label. But can I just start off by saying that it was myself and my mate Simon Danks, who I know you know of, we went to see a Fear Factory on a cold winter's night in December 2015, where we first heard the name Dead Label. So let's just say that the first thing that we did after that set was to go to the stall and actually buy Sense of Slaughter, as you clearly had won over the crowd. So yourself, obviously well known to Simon and myself. So with the lockdown then, and with your last album Throne of Bones being released in 2016, have I been hearing these rumours correct that Dead Label are finally about to release new music and an EP called Anthology?
Yes, you are. And actually, the album is ready to go as well. There's a bit of news for you as well. But the problem with the lockdown and everything is just the logistics of trying to get everything together and all that. Like right before lockdown, we were in the middle of our recording sessions, and unfortunately, I am not tech savvy, so I haven't been able to record any parts by myself or anything like that at home. So I need either Danny or Mick there to guide me through what I need to do on a computer. But yes, we are finally releasing some new music. The Anthology EP will be an accumulation of all the singles that we've been releasing. So from Pure Chaos, False Messiah, Triggered, Dystopian Complex, and then we have 2 other songs that people haven't heard that are dropping as well. So, and we're going to start teasing the first track this Friday.
Yeah, Deadweight, isn't it?
Deadweight, that's right.
I see your cat's made an appearance as well. But that's what I was going to ask. Like, I know it's like 2016, so that's 5 years. Is there just that much going on in County Kildare that's taking you that long to release new material?
There's been a few things that have been going on. We're always writing, we're always recording. For the third album, I think we had something like close to 30 plus songs. Wow. And a lot of them demoed and a lot of them recorded to a pretty high standard. But we've been putting a lot of focus on doing a lot of touring, a lot of live appearances, trying to get in there with more high profile acts to try and get the word out. And we've had some back and forth with labels and that type of thing. So that has held us up in certain aspects. And then eventually we just decided that, we need to knuckle down and we need to get this out one way or another, with or without a label. So we've just decided to go ahead and do it ourselves. And we've narrowed it down to, I think we've 10 songs that we're definitely going to put on the album, but there's probably a couple others that might pop up here or there that we haven't let go of just yet.
You could essentially release not a double album, but a triple album by the sounds of things.
We could.
How were the things in the studio then? How difficult was it narrowing it down from the 30 songs to the 10 core ones?
Not as the good thing about releasing an album in 2016 and then having all this material and not releasing an album is we've played a lot of it live. A lot of songs from like Sense of Slaughter just get like pushed out the set list, and you get put in with a lot of new stuff, and you get to road test it because people haven't heard it. They don't really know. So you can kind of judge off the reaction of people, if they're digging it, if they're not, if they're digging this part but they're not digging this part. You can kind of chop it and change it. So in a way, this new album is kind of like our first album in a way, if that makes any sense, because a lot of bands, you know, they play their songs over and over and over again before they've released an album, and they know what works, they know what not, and then the first album drops. We do things all over the place at Dead Label. So.
Well, you're Irish, aren't you? So so for those that are new to the band, then before we talk, well, in fact, why don't we just talk about the album then? For those that are new to the band, then how would you say the sound of the songs compares to that of your early material? And do you think you found the sound that you've been looking for with Dead Label, or do you think you'll always keep progressing?
Well, the idea is to always keep progressing, but like with Sense of Slaughter, when I look back on that now, like that was a band that was totally unsure of what we wanted to do. We were like, we had no recording experience whatsoever. Like we'd going into a studio with a student engineer. He didn't know how to record. My basic level of recording ability, trying to help him do things, you know, I'm surprised we even got an album out at the end anyway. You know, like they record my vocals, we put the vocal mic in the corner of a room and I stood in the other corner, probably 15 foot away, and started screaming, and that's the vocals that you hear on the album. Like it just the whole thing. I listen back, and the some songs, there's some good quality in there, but there's a lot of it is, this band was doing this, so we have to do that. You know, like at the time we were like really heavily listening to likes of Caliban. So Caliban were doing all these sick breakdowns, and we were just like, yeah, we should be doing sick breakdowns. And we were listening to Bring Me the Horizon. I wouldn't be caught dead listening to Bring Me the Horizon these days. So you know, it's just you know, all these different influence floating around. So, and we were just kind of like, we like this, we like this, we like this, we like this, and we just put it in and we put out an album. And then when we went in to do Throne of Bones, I just had a vendetta against Sense of Slaughter. I just wanted to bury it. I was just like, Throne of Bones is Dead Label's first album. I just want to wipe any existence of Sense of Slaughter off the face of the planet. And I think we did that. We went in.
Is that a personal opinion, or is that an opinion of the band?
No, that's just my personal opinion. That's just my personal opinion. Sense of Slaughter, the actual song structures and the way we wrote the songs, I would stand by, but the actual production, it hurts my ears. So the production on that album doesn't do the songs justice, in my opinion.
So if you're given a chance to re-record it, would you take the chance?
I would. I don't know if some of the other members would want to revisit it. But like, then again, there's 12 songs on that album, and I think there's probably maybe 8 that are probably worth re-recording. So maybe I might be able to work on them and try and get.
Is it not coming up for its 10-year anniversary next year?
Oh, Jesus Christ. It's not mad that we can say that we were in a band for nearly 10 years. For a long time, Jesus. I think we started in 2008, I think. Was it November 2008? But anyway, back to Throne of Bones. Like that song, it was just everything about that album, down to every cymbal hit, kick drum, snare, guitar note, everything was scrutinized. And we whittled everything that we had down to 8 songs that, in my opinion, are some of the best songs that we've ever written. And the production just shines through. And when we were recording that album, we went into the studio in America, and we didn't know who was recording the album. And we walked in, and there was this guy called Chris Rakestraw there, and he was an absolute godsend. And we have it. Every song that we do now goes through Chris. He's like our little
fifth member.
Yeah, he is the 5th member. He just gets the band. He gets the sound. He just knows what to do and when to do it. And I can't speak highly enough of him.
I take it you turned up at the studio with those songs thinking you'd absolutely nailed it, but then he brought his ideas into the pot as well.
Oh yeah. And he was only there to originally he was only there to engineer, and just like in the few days that we were, the first few days when we were getting the drums set up and getting the drum tracks recorded, yeah, just the way that he went about tuning the drums and, you know, directing Claire on, you know, where she should hit the snare and, you know, what way to hit the cymbals, and, you know, that take wasn't that good, go back in, do it again, all that type of thing. We started realizing that he was actually kind of producing us a little bit. We were kind of like, so, and then, you know, obviously ideas start floating around, and like I remember going in, and especially the way that I approach bass playing, like I am not a very good bass player. I'm a complete Neanderthal. I'm a knuckle dragger when it comes to playing bass.
The
fifth string is just to go lower. But a lot of I'm very rhythmic in the way that I approach my bass playing. I take a lot of my cues from what the drums are doing, and, you know, so a lot of the time I'm following the kick with the, you know, the down notes or stuff like that. But like Chris was the one to direct me a lot in my bass playing and in my vocals. Actually, he was, you know, he was very he had a vision on where the low end should go and how the vocals worked and all of that. And I remember going in, I think it was for Void. The chorus was, I was just meant to be on the kicks. That's the way we had written and jammed it in the jam space. And we went in, and he was like, you know what, I think you should play what the guitar is playing, just to beef out that sound. And I was like, I don't know if I can play that and sing that. So he's like, just play the riff with the guitar and just see how it sounds. And we went in, and it was just like, yeah, okay, that's right. That sounds absolutely awesome. Now I have to learn how to play and sing that. so back to the drawing board there. But, you know, he was right.
Okay, man, good. So with the lockdown pretty much happening all over the UK, then how are you guys communicating your ideas to each other? And when was the last time you actually got together?
So the last time we actually were in a room together was in November, believe it or not. The guys.
So when was that from? Was that from like June to November?
It was kind of mid-November, I think, is when it was kind of like we were tracking, we were getting ready to do vocals for one of the songs for the album. Okay. And Danny was doing he was doing overdub guitars and solos, and we got a few bits done, and we went home, and the numbers started creeping back up, and the guys live with a couple of people that are high risk. Yeah. So they were just like, we just can't take the risk. And then the numbers just kept going up, and then we just eventually just been cooped up in our houses. So mainly talking over WhatsApp and, you know, sending audio files back and forth and that type of thing. But you know, I just cannot wait to get back into a jam room with the guys, just play some loud music. I'll be very rusty.
It's the same with every other UK bands. I mean, I think they got together like 2 or 3 months over the summer, and that was it. They haven't seen each other again since like August, September, so it might be a wee bit different over there. But hopefully that time's coming to an end soon. So is Mick the guitarist that sends like riffs at 4 o'clock in the morning then?
No, not really. You get the way Mick likes to give ideas is Mick would actually nearly send a whole audio file with programmed drums, bass, guitar, and he kind of gives you a kind of a fairly fleshed out idea. Yeah. That's how he kind of sends why he'd send them to us, and he'd just be like, what do you think? You'd listen to it, you say that bit's good, maybe take that bit out. You know, it's very democratic in the way that we write. A lot of like Danny brings the lion's share of the music. He'd just come in with a guitar riff. He's very he thinks in drums as well, so he has a lot of drum ideas. So like when you get into a jam room with Danny, he has he'll show you the riff. He'd be like, this is what I want the drums to do. Then bass do this, he'll show Mick the harmony or whatever way they're going to work out the guitar parts, and you just jam it through. And then, you know, as you jam it and as you kind of get used to it, you start hearing different things, and then maybe I'll go, oh, maybe if I just accented, you know, that kick, or, you know, that hit, or, you know, maybe I know you thought that riff should be the verse, maybe that should be the chorus, that type of thing. And all those ideas start floating around. So, you know, nobody gets their backup of things, have to chop and change. And, you know, even when it comes down to recording vocals, I let the guys pick my vocal tracks because I hate the sound of my voice.
So thanks very much for that, Dan. So with you being the vocalist then, do you take care of the lyric side of the band then, or do you welcome contributions from all members with the lyrics?
For the first, before Mick came in the band, I done the lion's share of lyrics. Yeah. But you know, like Claire would like give me, she'd throw ideas my way, like maybe a concept, or, you know, she heard a quote or something and she's like, that's a cool quote, and I'd research it and be like, oh yeah, it is a cool quote, and, you know, maybe just you know, or jot down some ideas. A lot of the time I write my vocals to the music that already exists, and just like I find that, you know, you can kind of place in some cool rhythmic things, or, you know, you can get some really cool phrasings and stuff like that. You actually already have the music, and you, rather than writing down the lyrics and then trying to fit them to a song. Like I've done that with songs in the past and it's worked out okay. Like stuff that I've been out walking the dog or in work, and you know, your mind trails off and you start writing some lyrics and just words in your phone, you just type them into notes, and then you oh, maybe they'll fit a song or something like that, you know.
Yeah.
But a lot of time I prefer to actually have the music, so I can actually sit down and work it out what way things are falling within the music, if that makes any sense.
Yeah. So,
but Mick, when Mick came in, we were demoing the songs for the album, and I think there was I think it was around December of last year, we were kind of getting the last few demos together, and I'd written 3 or 4 songs in 2 or 3 days, just did demo lyrics, you know, just trying to remember, and I was completely burnt out, and I couldn't think, there was one song left, and I couldn't think of any lyrics for it, and I just said to the guys, I was like, it's the first time I ever said it, I was just like, does anybody have lyrics? I have nothing. I am tapped out. And Mick was like, oh yeah. He's like, I'm always writing lyrics. So he's like, I have something. He sent it over, and it was like, it was great. I was just like, yeah. It was like, are you happy for me to scream these? And he was like, yeah, go for it. So that's what we did. And that was the first time that anybody that wasn't in the band wrote some lyrics. So anybody other than me in the band wrote lyrics. So
I can imagine it can be quite hard, because when you write your lyrics, you see yourself singing them. You know when you're going to sing your harsher vocals, your shouting vocals. But for somebody else to come in, you don't know when to adapt these different vocal ranges in.
Yeah. Now the way that Mick presented them to me, they were just words on a sheet, and he was like, "Have at it." He didn't really have any vocal patterns or anything like that, and that was one of the times where I had to try and you know, the words already existed before the music, and I had to try and like fit them in or whatever. But you know, and even since then, like things get chopped and changed, and but the core of that song, which will be on the album, is all Mick's lyrics, and you know, he done a great job. So, you know, I'll definitely be hitting them up in the future for more.
Exactly, because it's definitely something that I could never do. So I'd imagine you would welcome all the contributions that you can get. So,
oh yeah, like I especially when I'm writing lyrics as well, I have opinions about things, and sometimes my opinions don't groove with what, you know, maybe Claire's thinking or Danny's thinking or Mick is thinking. So before I go in and record vocals, like I give them the lyrics, you know, I'd just be like, are these okay? Do you like these? Like I'm, you know, like Claire would be very spiritual. She has a belief. So I'm very mindful of that when I'm writing songs, you know, where there's a religious, because I'm a full-blown atheist. So, I've no religion in me whatsoever. So I don't want to be, I know that she believes, so I don't want to upset her.
Yeah.
So like if there are songs like a song like False Messiah, for instance, like it's based around a religious theme, but that's not what the actual song is about. It's just like I use the imagery of the Jesus carrying the cross and his name and all that type of stuff, but it's not just that. It's a false messiah could be anything. It could be a boss, it could be a friend, it could be an addiction. Sorry. Yeah, she wants to get in on the action. It can be taken in a lot of different ways. So anytime that I've written something like that, I'd run it past the band just to make sure that I'm not ruffling any feathers. So
sure. Excellent. Thanks very much for that, Dan. So
no problem.
We kind of spoke about it a wee bit earlier. Was there anything done differently from the recording of Throwing the Bones to that of the 2 new tracks in Anthology, as well as what the album's going to be? I know that you're not going to have the microphone 15 feet away from you. I know that now.
Exactly. Well, we have a lot more experience of actually recording and performing in the studio than we did. Every time you go in, you learn something new.
Yeah.
I suppose, like we are always progressing as musicians, and the riffs get harder, the songs get faster. Sometimes they're slower. The parts get more intricate. Sometimes they're not. It's all a huge part of recording for me is confidence. Go in prepared. Go in know what you're doing, because that'll really help speed the process along. I know with vocals, I hate the sound of my own voice in the headphones, but you kind of have to go in and own it. Like this is just, it's a confidence thing. It's like, this is how you sound. Just go in and nail it, and that's just all you can do. And I just go in and I do the best that I can, and I let the guys pick the takes.
With the vocals then, and with the new album, how did you, especially when you weren't being able to get together and rehearse as much, how did you keep your throat in good condition for when it came to record the album?
I've been lucky enough that I've never really blown out my voice.
You give it a good go.
What was that?
You give it a good go, though.
Oh, I tell you, I've tried. There was actually one time on the Fear Factory tour where that was the most amount of gigs we've ever done in a row. So I think it was like gig 19 or 20. Actually, I'll tell you exactly where it was. It was when we were back in Dublin. It was our hometown show on that run, and a few of our friends were there, and I went out on stage and I did my thing, and I came backstage, and a few of our friends were there, and they just looked at me and said, "You are fucking bollocksed." I was like, "Yeah, I'm tired." He's like, "Yeah, we could hear it in your voice, and we could see it in your presence. You're just like, you're tired." It's just one of those things of like never having done it before, and the fact that we had to do all our own driving. Like, we weren't on a bus that tour. Yeah. We were in a van doing the whole thing ourselves, so there's a lot of late nights, finish the gig, pack up, load the van, drive, because you had to try and stay close to the bus. So you were kind of arriving at the same time. So they traveled straight through the night. So we'd have to drive for maybe 3 or 4 hours, stop for a couple of hours for a bit of kip, and then continue driving just to get to the venue at the same time of the bus. So like all that stuff kind of does catch up on you eventually. And that was one of the shows where it did catch up on me. But I
bet you would do it all over again, though, to meet people like Burton Gale and Rosaris and stuff.
Well, in a heartbeat. If they asked us to be anywhere in the morning, I'd be there. But to keep my voice clear, like I don't drink on the road or excessively at gigs or anything like that. I only drink water. I use Vocal Zone. and I warm up as well. I use the Melissa Cross Senna Screaming warm-ups. I've a bit of a lower register, so I kind of use the baritone, the baritone scale. But yeah, I just find all that stuff really helps. And then just I find if I have a good mix in my monitor on stage, which is rare, then it depends on the level of the vocal in the monitor, how sore my throat is after a gig. If I can't hear myself, I always end up trying to shout more. But
I suppose you're always practicing when you're in the car as well, and you're in the shower and stuff like that.
Yeah, it is. Like I have a habit. Once the headphones go in, I start, screaming my head off and just singing away. So like I'm constantly singing and screaming, and the people who come up behind me when I'm out in work and they tap me on the shoulder, and I'm listening to Strapping Young Lad. And just,
Good stuff. So when you're lucky, when it's in a normal world, then where would you meet to rehearse, and where would you record?
We usually rehearse in a place called Troubadour Studios. It used to be called Muzzle, in a place called Chapel Lizard in Dublin. We've been there for years. We left for a couple of years. Before Mick was in the band, he played with this place Hell, and they had a rehearsal space out in a place called Summer Hill, and they offered to share that with us, and then we went and stole their guitar player. But we then left Summer Hill to go back to Troubadour, and we're sharing with Rest of Nation, so another Dublin-based band. So it's great. Like the guys in that band are amazing, and they were really generous in letting us come back and share the room with them, and I can't wait to get back in there.
I know that will be sometime soon, hopefully in the next month or two, hopefully,
yeah.
Again, we kind of touched on it earlier, like how are the songs constructed in the studio? Are they the main songwriters to the songs, or is Dead Label a band where all members contribute? Because I was kind of disappointed in your answer a wee bit earlier, because I was expecting, like especially with the 30 songs and Aaron went down to 10, I was expecting like fisticuffs in the studio and like blood in the water and stuff like that, mass songs getting in, all that kind of stuff.
No, unfortunately we are a very boring band. there's very, very little drama. Like I've known Danny, like I'm 32 now. I've known Danny since I was 5. Me and Danny have been in school together, like from babies right up until we graduated from secondary school. I know him years, he knows me years, and we just know how each other think. Claire is exactly the same. I know Claire since I was 16. I've been in the band with her since I was 16. Just the three of us have a very weird relationship where we each know what each other is thinking before they've actually thought it. And Mick is a breath of fresh air in that, because he brings a different perspective. Yeah. So no, there's very little drama.
I think it also shows the strengths of your recordings as well, the fact that you've been this whole unity the whole time. There hasn't been, we haven't lost any members, we've added members, whereas like bands that have been together, like we're together 12 years, like, and there hasn't been, there's been a couple of arguments on the road, like when we were recording Throne of Bones, we were sleeping on the lofts, I was here and Danny was here and Claire was there. There was many a time in the middle of the night where Danny would roll over and he'd slap me in the face with his hand. You think that somebody would have fell out with somebody there, but no, we've gotten through it. So you're just lucky it was his hand. It could have been worse.
It could have been.
So we're just talking about this just now then. So Dead Label had always been a 3-piece band, but in 2019 you brought guitarist Mick into the band. So were the reasons for bringing a second guitarist in, and how has Mick helped to influence the sound of the new songs of the EP and the album? Before you answer that, there's one thing that worries me in a live setting is having the one guitarist, especially when they play solos. it just empties the room, you know, if it's not done right. So I was much happier when I heard that Mick was joining the band, put it that way.
Yeah, we were never against a fourth member. It's just we could never find one. No, nobody that we knew was as committed as the three of us.
Yeah.
You know, like it's, you know, it's always just been, okay, we've got this offer. Okay, no matter what you're doing, drop it and go. You know, that's just the way it always has been since day one. And like, we've always talked about a second guitarist, or, you know, even me moving to guitar and bringing in a bass player or something like that, but it just never happened. And then eventually we started playing bigger shows, and you know, you got play on the Sophie stage at Bloodstock, and we played Download, and, you know, you're out on tour with Fear Factory and you're playing 2,000 cap rooms, and
yeah,
you know, like you said, you do notice it. You know, Danny goes for a solo, the sound drops, and it kind of got to a point where we needed to fit. It was, and you know, it's Claire is up here at the drum kit. She's tiny. She's hidden by a monster drum kit and all these cymbals. Nobody can see her. I'm here on the left side of the stage, stuck to a microphone. I can't move. So it falls on Danny to fill up all of this space. And, you know, it's a tall order. And we did it for a long time. And we had some, you know, like we had some great success with it, but it just got to a point where we needed to take a step up, and that just meant getting the addition of another guitarist and just to fill out that sound. So now you have me in the middle of the stage stuck to a microphone, Claire's hidden, but the two guys have long hair and they're going, there's a bit of action either side of the stage. So it's really filled out the live sound. And when we were talking about getting in a guitarist, we didn't have auditions. We were sitting in the practice space, and the conversation came up, and it's like, well, who would we want to get, you know, in an ideal situation? And Danny just piped up, he's like, what about Mick? And we were like, oh yeah, let's just get Mick. Yeah, that makes total sense. So what we did was we didn't want to, you know, get his hopes up in case we didn't like the feeling in the room or whatever like that. So we kind of disguised his audition as we just wanted to hear what the songs would sound like with a second guitar. Would he mind coming along and having a jam with us just to fill out the sound? You know, there was like no strings attached. It was just a bit of fun. And we sent him a few tracks, and he learnt them all by ear, and you know, came into the room and knew the songs better than we did. And we were like, okay, that's very impressive. And then, you know, we played through the few songs that he knew, and you know, for something that was meant to be a bit of fun, he took it very seriously, and that impressed us. We were like, oh, you know, okay, fair play to him. And then, you know, I just kind of like on the fly, I was just kind of like, well, how about you learn Salvation and Sacrifice now? You know, just a drop of the hat. You know, me and Claire will go outside. You can sit down with Danny. He'll go through the riffs with you. You know, they don't have to be perfect. Just see how you go. I just wanted to see how quick he could learn. And me and Claire went outside, and the two of us just kind of like, that sounded really fucking good. That sounded great. And we went back in a few minutes later, and he knew Sense of Slaughter or Salvation and Sacrifice like that. Just picked it up, and I just played through that, and it was just like, we great crack with him. And then, you know, the jam ended, and we went our separate ways, and you know, myself, Danny, and Claire were just kind of just standing around going, that was class. We need to get him in the band. So I just texted him the next day, and I was like, want to join?
You guys are quite tough. Like, right, there's a song, Leonard, just now. We'll go outside and we'll come back and listen to it. That's quite tough.
Oh yeah, like that probably sounds a bit harsh, but you know, at the time it was all very loose. It didn't have to be, you know, perfect by any means. I just wanted to see how quick he'd pick things up, and he picked it up like that. Like he's very good.
So with the song album, then, written before Mick came in the band, or have the new songs been totally since he's been in the bands? And
yeah, all the songs that are going on the album have had a bit of Mick influence in them, whether it be an idea here or there, or you know, a riff or a vocal melody or anything like that. But everything that's on this upcoming EP, everything was kind of written before Mick came in the band.
Yeah.
So, yeah, he's played all these songs thousands of times now at this stage, but it's kind of just like they were all kind of pretty much done and recorded. So we just said, let's just put them out.
Yeah.
Yeah, like there's a few songs on the album now that he's contributed to, and you know, looking forward to getting back in the practice space to actually record all those songs and get them out as well. But hopefully the next 2 tracks that are coming out will tide people over.
Well, certainly looking forward to it, Dan. Certainly looking forward to it. Hi there, sorry guys, I just had to pause the video there because we've just been joined by, I think it's not even arguably, we are talking about Dead Label's #1 super fan. Her name is Erin Danks, and I'm delighted to welcome Erin. How are you doing, Erin?
Good.
You're doing good, that's brilliant, that's great. I hear you've got a number of questions for Dan, so I'm just going to sit back and relax and let you ask your questions. Oh, no.
Yeah.
Go.
How are you and the others?
We're all good. We are all fine. We haven't been able to jam in a long time. We haven't been together since probably November, but we're keeping safe. Everybody is doing well. Nobody has gotten COVID, which is great. And we're just really looking forward to being able to get back over and play for you.
What is your favorite Dead Label song?
Oh, good question. Good question. Anything that has a lot of bass in it. I think my favorite song that we've recorded would have to be, I think it'd have to be Ominous off Throne of Bones. I really, really like that song. I really, really like the chorus riff on that song.
Do you like that too, Erin?
Yeah, my favorite one is Dystopian Complex.
Oh, good choice. Good choice. Yes, that is a very good song.
Is that because Dan?
That'd be in the top 3 for me. All right.
Do you have another question?
Yeah. What video did you enjoy making the most?
Oh, good question. I think the Triggered video. I think that was really, really good fun. It was just a really nice day. We just had all our friends around us, and it was just great crack. Just everybody was just in good form and just really enjoyed it. It kind of with that video, we had a plan for a bit of a story going on in the video where we were like, this drunk guy was going to stumble in and wreck the house party and all that. But by the time we actually got around to filming, people had too much to drink. So everybody was already in party mode. So we were just like, we'll just record them having a good time and be all right.
I was going to say that it would have been a few beers that you would have had that made that video. So you've just confirmed the rumors.
Yeah, there's a good few. I was actually stone cold sober. For that video shoot.
Do we believe him, Erin? No.
I had to drive.
Do you have another question, Erin?
What's your favorite ice cream flavor?
Mint chocolate chip. That is the best ice cream ever.
Was that the question that Simon asked you to ask? So how's it been talking to Dan?
Good.
Is he your favorite
great
musician
talking to
in the
you,
band?
Erin. Great to see you.
Is he your favorite musician in the band?
No, all of them are.
No, Claire is.
Oh, good answer. Good answer. Good answer. Do you have any other questions for Dan, Erin?
No.
No. Well, hopefully we'll see Dead Label in Glasgow soon.
Hopefully.
and hopefully you'll be able to come along and see them. Because I know that you'll be down in the front row. In fact, you'll be on the stage and then you'll just stage leave off it.
She'll be side stage. Don't you worry.
What about her dad?
You'll be in the back.
Oh, thanks.
We're a wee bit old now. We'll be standing like that in the back. Well, thank you very much, Erin, for coming along. Would you like to say goodbye, Dan?
Bye, Dan. Looking forward to see you all soon.
Yeah, looking forward to being out there.
By the way, Erin, what shirt are you wearing today? Hey.
Look at that.
That's brilliant, Erin. Thank you very much for coming on.
Thanks, Erin.
Right, thanks, Erin. Take care.
Great to see you.
Right.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Now, well, that was brilliant. Thank you very much for that, Erin. It was great to see you. So, Dan, like every other band, it's been hard not being able to book tours for the whole of 2020. So what touring commitments did you have last year? And have these been rescheduled, or have you unfortunately had to pull out of a few? Like other bands, it's been like 2020 copy and then 2021 paste. But have you been lucky enough to? Yeah,
it's been everything that was booked in 2020 got moved to 2021, and now I'm going to be a bit pessimistic and say I don't think anything is going to happen this year, unfortunately. So I'd say everything is just going to get pasted to 2022. I
would definitely agree with you when it comes to the festivals, but maybe like more smaller, intimate gigs.
Maybe if that happens, you know, I really, really want that to happen, but I just, you know, I don't see it. Just the way things are here in Ireland at the minute, and traveling. I think there's like a 2-week quarantine period. So you know, you have to, if you're going anywhere, you have to quarantine for 2 weeks. Once you get there, just the logistics of it just don't make sense at the minute. Yeah. It's going to have to be, you know, kind of back to normal before you'll actually be able to get back out on the road, unfortunately.
Yeah. So now that you don't have the touring side of things, yes, you've done your album and you've written songs and things, but has it made you look at the more business side of the band this time in the lockdown? Like, have you maybe keeping the name out there more and marketing yourself more and that type of thing? Yeah.
You definitely have to come up with a bit, you know, ways to become a little bit more inventive in, you know, trying to get the name out there, you know. You know, we've been trying to steadily build up different types of merch, you know, a lot of different promotions that we've been trying to do, just to try and just keep the lights on effectively. But you know, luckily enough, you know, the band for us isn't, you know, it's not full time, so we all still have full-time jobs and stuff like that. So we were lucky enough in that aspect, because we have friends who are in full-time bands. You know, they've been grounded for, you know, over a year now. So like financially, I know they're hurting. So
yeah,
you know, we were lucky enough in that aspect. But yeah, you do have to come up with different ways of trying to stay relevant and, you know, get the name out there. And like one way that we've been kind of doing it is drip feeding these singles. You know, like you can drop an album, and that's 10 songs of new music. There you go, enjoy, which is great. I love an album. The Gojira just announced their new album, and I'm gagging for it. You know, I can't wait to just sit down. You know, an hour of new Gojira music. You know, it just take my whole focus. But there definitely is an appeal to you know, maybe dropping a track a month, just to keep your name in people's minds and get people talking about you and that type of thing. So you know, that's what we're going to, until the album is ready. I'd say that's probably something that we will probably look at doing, is probably trying to release music on a more consistent basis rather than just drop an album. But we still will be dropping an album, but like I said, we had 30 odd songs before we whittled it down to what's going on the album. So there's others that are there that are maybe just floating around that we might be able to polish and put them out before the album drops.
Yeah, because I must admit, I was a wee bit worried when I initially saw it was an EP, because sometimes you listen to an EP and you're like, I want that wee bit more, whereas an album, as you say, has got a beginning, middle, and an end. So I prefer an album.
Yeah.
So
exactly. A lot more goes into the album, the way you structure the songs and the artwork and all of that. It's a package, and like don't get me wrong, there is a place for an album in the whole scope of being in a band, but just right now, just trying to stay relevant and trying to stay active and stay busy. There definitely is an appeal for me to be releasing music on a more consistent basis.
So have you also looked at doing like a gig, whether it's in the studio, the rehearsal space, or even if you can hire a venue or something like that? Have you thought of that as soon as you can get live, just put on a live performance? Yeah,
like we have talked about it. We were wondering, could we get into any of these places, but unfortunately, like a lot of these places are they're closed due to the lockdown. Like at the moment, we're in a level 5 lockdown in Ireland anyway, and that's going to be continuing till the 5th of April, and then probably beyond, because the numbers here just keep going up. So we actually can't get in anywhere to do anything like that, unfortunately. Like even our rehearsal place is closed. Like I can't even get in to get my gear. So yeah, so it is what it is.
Yeah. So you can't
as soon as
in your own bedrooms.
Yeah, as soon as restrictions ease up a bit, I'm sure we'll try and put something together. We have to for our own sanity at this stage.
Yeah. Cool. So you're signed. Am I right in saying that you're currently signed to New Era Records?
No, we're not. No, we're done with that. Have been for a while.
All right. So well, thank you for that.
No, we were for a while, but we're no longer associated with that label. So
you're doing everything
independent? We're completely independent now at the moment. Yeah, and so, it's working for us. So
I was going to say that must be quite a lot of pressure off you. There's no time scales. There's nobody saying get this done right now and all the rest of it. You're doing it at your own.
Yeah, exactly. You're your own boss in a way. You get to release music when you want to release music, and there definitely is. There are benefits to being signed, but there's also benefits to not being signed. So having full control over your own musical output is great. So we're just focusing on that at the minute, and then like if the right offer comes along, then we jump at it. But at the minute, we're happy as we are.
Well, you never know. With the EP coming out, you might get a few knocks on the door. So Deadweight's coming out in the 2nd, isn't it?
Yeah, Deadweight is coming out on April 2nd, I think, is the day that's dropping. And then we'll have there'll be a lyric video for that. And then we have a music video for another song called Flux dropping on April 9th.
Cool.
Yeah.
Certainly looking forward to hearing it. Now, I've only got 2 more questions for you left. So I'm maybe showing my age a wee bit here, since you gave your age away earlier. I'm a wee bit older than you. So,
right.
So before the internet, magazines and fanzines were the places to find out about new bands and trends, but now publications have been replaced with thousands of websites catering for all genres. Do you think that some of the passion's been lost, or do you think that the internet has been a good thing for music and a good thing for Dead Label, for example?
It's definitely been it's been good for us. It's definitely a tool that you can use. The possibilities are endless with your reach. If you know where to point your music and where to send it and what to do with it, you can reach an awful lot of people. There is a part of me that sometimes thinks that, with the internet and with other things, there's oversaturation.
Yes.
I think a lot of, this probably isn't really a fair thing to say, but there's an awful lot of bad music out there, and I think that drowns out the good stuff at times.
Yes.
And it takes something spectacular to shine through the bullshit, if that makes any sense. But there's good and bad to everything. But yeah, definitely the internet has helped us massively.
Well, there was a perfect example of it there. You had to chat with your number one fan.
Exactly,
But I mean, way back in the late 80s and the early 90s, you would send like a couple of pounds away for a demo, and a couple of days later you'd get the cassette back and you would open the envelope, stickers would come out and things, and you would listen to the tape and you're like, I don't know if I like that, but because you've invested in it, you would listen to it again and again and then make your mind up. Now you can just go on a streaming website, 10 seconds, oh no, that's pish.
10 seconds.
Yeah.
Definitely, like, and I'm 100% guilty of this as well. Like your attention span can be, it can be not as big as it once was. You can flick on something and and because there's like I've Spotify on my phone, I can just flick through thousands of songs, and you can listen to 10 seconds of one thing or a minute of another, but you still, if you find a band that grabs you, like at the minute, who's my latest find, like I only listened to Ocean Machine by Devin Townsend the other day for the first time ever. Like how did that be? I have like a huge.
When that was released.
Oh yeah, like was it like 90? I don't even know. But like what an album! But there you go. Like just there's so much out there. Just things miss you. And I've heard, like, I'm a huge Strapping Young Lad fan, huge DTP fan, and just for whatever reason, this just did not register with me at all that there was an album called Ocean Machine. And I listened to, he puts out podcasts on Spotify, the Devin Townsend podcast, and he was going through the Ocean Machine. He's like, I've never listened to that album. And I stuck it on. It's like, I love this album.
So what you're really telling me is that would be your dream gig. It would be Strapping Young Lads, Dead Label supporting.
Ooh, that would be class.
Or Dead Label with Strapping Young Lads supporting.
No, that just doesn't even sound right.
Well, listen, Dan, thank you very much for this. I've only got the last question, and this is we'll probably run on to midnight with this question. But this is the question I usually ask about the make and model of the instrument that they play in your next recording. Then, so what bass are you using for the recording of the EP and album?
1 second. Now, this is my brand new.
There, she's there.
Spectre. This is the Alex Webster signature model.
Wow.
It's got the at the moment it's got the Seymour Duncan's, the signature pickup, the hammer smash tone pickups in there, but I'll probably swap them out for the Fishman's. But yeah, this will definitely take center stage when I'm recording the EP.
So did you have to sell a few basses to get that one?
Fortunately, since we haven't been touring, there's been a few bob lying around. So I treated myself to a brand new guitar, and I have to say this: it weighs a ton. It's very heavy, but it sounds amazing. So this will be taking center stage. It's got the red crown inlays. Yeah, I cannot wait to actually start recording with this thing. It's got a real fast neck, brass nut, loads of sustain. So yeah.
So what amp do you use?
What I record with is I usually DI everything. I DI out of a Harkey tone hammer. and then there's probably a couple of plugins that'll be added in as well. And then you've got the DI track there to reamp if needs be. For the amp that I use a Harkey LH1000, the 1000 watt head. Yeah. So just I was using a 500 watt head, and I ended up blowing that, trying to keep up with two really loud guitar players. So I was like, fuck you guys. I'm gonna up the wattage and try and use out.
And with you also being the vocalist then, have you went through a range of microphones until you're finally satisfied with one, or does it not matter?
Whatever is put in front of me, I use. There's a sound engineer here in Dublin called Rats. He has, whenever he is mixing a show that we're playing, he has a very specific microphone that he uses for me. I don't know what it is, but it's beaten to shit, but it sounds great. But when I'm tracking vocals in the studio, I use the Sennheiser SM7B.
Yeah.
Just like every other metal vocalist.
That's absolutely brilliant. Do I see a guitar behind you as well?
Oh, you do, yeah. Like I said, I'm a complete Neanderthal when it comes to playing guitar. I have no finesse. I am very much a bass player that plays guitar. So I've had this guitar for years. This is my it's an LTD Explorer. This is what I play my Metallica riffs on. And then I have this guy here. And I think there's a string that's popped on it at the minute. Yeah, there is. This is the it's another LTD. It's the Alexi Laiho signature model. Just passive pickups. Got the Floyd Rose just for a bit of crack. But yeah, these are just guitars that just kind of have just lying around the house just to play. I have that one in drop B, so I'd write a lot of potential Dead label riffs on this one. And then this one is just in E standard.
I was actually going to say, are any of your riffs on the album then?
There is an instrumental that I wrote on bass, actually, that is making it. See, the problem is I'm in a band with two very talented guitar players, and any riff that I bring in, they have 10 just that outshine mine. So yeah, I do contribute music at the odd time, but a lot of the time it just gets pushed to the side, and we end up using the riffs because they're better.
I can just picture the guitarists looking at each other and going, nah.
Yeah, pretty much.
Well, listen, guys, it's been an absolute pleasure talking to you. But before I go, do you have a title for the new album?
Actually, no, we don't. It's that's actually not that hasn't been discussed yet. It's album 3. It's just been album 3 for the past 4 years.
Well, I'm certainly looking forward to hearing it. And with your permission, I've actually got friends in metal still out there, and I'm on podcasts. And one of the guys, Mark, he's got 2 radio stations, one in the UK and one in the US. Would it be okay to play any songs from the upcoming EP?
Oh yeah, of course, yeah.
Stations, yeah. Ask permission before we just put them on there and stuff like that. That you would like us to play.
When
Deadweight, when the new songs.
Yeah, when Deadweight drops, it'd be up on Spotify. You can play that. That'd be the newest. It's got it's punchy, it's fast, it's everything that Dead label do in one song. So it's probably the best representation of where we are at the minute. So
that's exactly what we'll play then. But like I said, Dan, it's been an absolute pleasure talking to you, and looking forward to hearing the new stuff. We'll certainly do our bit over here at Moshville Times as well, mate.
Cheers. Thanks, man.
Thanks,
appreciate it.